What is up, my fine feathered friends? Welcome to my Pink Room of Doom. As always, I hope you're doing well. So if this is your first time on the channel, please make sure you subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. If that isn't too needy and ASCII of me, I greatly appreciate it. Help support the channel. But this is the follow-up video to the Can You Really Hear a Cheap Pickup? And I asked you guys to prove it and leave some comments down there to see if you could take a guess as to which of those three guitars was the cheap one, the mid-priced one, and then the not super duper expensive one, but the more expensive of the bunch. And I did get some comments, and I figured I'd go through those before I got to the reveal. But if you want to skip straight to the reveal, there's timestamps down there in the description. And if you haven't seen the original video, I highly recommend you go and watch that and try to see if you can tell the difference. And if you want to leave a comment there, feel free to do it. I obviously won't get to it in this video, but hey, you know, interaction and such. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go through some of the comments, shall we?
I think the most important piece of gear is the one behind the guitar. That said, the second one sounded really good.
Talking about, obviously, the player, and yes, the player does have a big role in how well a guitar can sound. Now, I'm not one of those people that says the tone is in the hands, but there is some truth to it. Obviously, it's not like the biggest piece of it, but yes, you got to be somewhat of a good player to make a guitar sound good. Either way, no matter what piece of gear, or in this case, what pickups you're using.
Guitar number 1, Fender Player Series. Guitar number 2, Donner DST-80. Guitar number 3, Donner DST-600.
So I had a couple of comments like this where they said which one was which. 1, 2, and 3 is this, this, and this. And good guesses. We'll see if you're right here in just a few minutes.
1, least expensive. 2, Fender most expensive. And 3, mid-expensive. I thought 2 sounded the best, but 3 was a very close second. 1 wasn't bad either, but not as good as 2 or 3.
So a little more insight there, saying which one sounded best in their eyes, blah, 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 blah. But again, we'll see if you're right in just a minute.
I can only judge by the cleaner tones, and I think 2 is the Fender. Once distortion hits, they all sound very similar.
This seems to be a common theme in a lot of pickup comparison videos, is once you start adding all of the distortion to it, it's like it doesn't really matter. All of those differences that everybody seems to say that they can hear suddenly disappear, which kind of brings into perspective here, like, why are rock and metal players so obsessed with their pickups? Why? Because you see people still say the same thing. Once you add all the distortion and the effects and processing and all the stuff, it doesn't matter because you're still shaping that tone into what you want it to be. So it's like, does it really matter all that much? But I am a bit of a believer that once you get into clean tones, you can start to hear kind of some subtle differences and stuff. But I mean, it's not really enough in my eyes to justify paying, you know, $200 for a new pickup if you really want those like boutique sounds. And hopefully I get my point across and you understand what I'm saying here.
1, cheap Donner. 2, Fender. 3, better Donner.
Could be right. Stick around.
Wouldn't be able to tell at all. Not that I couldn't hear any differences, just that hearing a difference doesn't always mean one is worse than the other. Although I will say I've had some objectively bad pickups over the years, but that's the exception, not the rule. Good stuff, brother.
That's my buddy Sean from Sean Plays Guitar, my cohort and companion on our live show that we do every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, called Only Frets. Make sure you stick around for that. And subscribe so you can see when we go live on each of our channels. But yes, there are objectively bad pickups. And in my eyes, that means that they are kind of low output, or maybe they're microphonic, just not well-made pickups. Can it affect the tone that you can get? Yes, because again, if it's low output, or if it's microphonic and you're getting all this kind of feedback, then yes, objectively, it's going to make your tone bad. But they do make, on purpose, low output pickups that maybe you're suited more for different guitars like semi-acoustics or hollow bodies, things like that, where you don't want all of the feedback because you're already going to get that natural feedback from the body. But that's a whole separate discussion. Very insightful, man. Thank you.
Well, I know one thing. A guitar with cheap pickups played by a great player will sound great, and a guitar with expensive pickups played by a poor player will sound like crap.
Yes, going back to, you kind of have to know how to play the damn thing anyway to get it to sound somewhat decent.
Unless you take time to tweak the tone and get them to sound exactly the same, you're not really comparing them. You're only comparing them at one setting.
Yes. That's the point. Why on earth do you think that I would go record one guitar with these pickups in it, and then go and check the settings on the other guitar in the amp, and then go and tweak the amp settings to sound similar to the first one? That kind of defeats the point of the comparison, don't you think? We're trying to spot differences here, not tweak it and make it sound the same. I mean, you could make a video on that, but that completely eliminates the point of the comparison, don't you think?
Can you really hear a cheap pickup? Well, I mean, it's a player. It's not going to win any awards in the pickups department. That said, number 2 sounds best to me. If the Fender isn't 2, we know why.
Yes, so I got a comment, which I think I have it in here, basically that was saying like, why didn't you use custom shop pickups? And why didn't you go and basically spend an arm and a leg to get these pickups and do a real comparison? Well, objectively, at least in my eyes, the pickups that you're going to get in a Made in Mexico Fender Player Series are probably going to be more well-made. Not necessarily better, but just more well-made than something that you would get from somewhere off of Amazon or something, right? Something that's like $100 or whatever. Objectively speaking, there's probably going to be a quality difference right off the bat. I'm not saying that Made in Mexico Fenders are using like the top tier, highest quality components when they make their pickups, but you get what I'm saying. That, and again, I really didn't feel like going and spending a ton of money on a video that probably was a gamble anyway, seeing as my views have been down lately.
Guitar 2 is Fender.
We'll see. A lot of people seem to really like Guitar 2 here.
Here's something that's going wrong. When you compare pickup sets 1, 2, and 3, you should have all pickups in one guitar. What we hear now is 3 guitars. We are comparing 3 guitars. Do change the video title. Do make a new intro. This video does not compare pickups. It compares guitars having those pickups. Please tell me if that is useful. My humble opinion is forget it. Next time use one guitar and replace the pickups twice. Then the difference is the pickups, not 3 totally different guitars. Let your common sense wave its hands, please.
That was a difficult comment to read, bud. Thank you for the aneurysm. So this is this guy trying to factor in things like tone wood probably, and you know, all the other different type of components that people like to say affect the tone dramatically. Oh, the bridge is made out of cast aluminum or whatever. I don't know. Like the saddles are bronze. Like, okay, yes, look. People love to say that the components make these huge tonal differences. To me, the material that a bridge is made out of or that a nut is made out of is all about longevity. It doesn't really do anything to affect the tone. Yes, maybe some of the metals could make things slightly brighter, but again, those are super minuscule differences. Kind of like what I'm trying to prove here with the pickup differences, is that the differences are minuscule. Maybe. Some people seem, again, to think that there are massive differences, but that's why we're doing a blind test to see if you can really tell the difference. Let your common sense wave its hands, please. All right, so those are some of my favorite comments in there and some of my insightful comebacks, I guess. So with that being said, now that we're at this point in the video, let's go ahead and get to the reveal. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to play the original clip from the video with it blanked out, so guitar 1, 2, and 3, and then I will do the reveal for each one. So let's see if some of those comments that took guesses at it were correct right now. Well, what an interesting conclusion on this. I only say that because a lot of people really liked the sound of guitar number 2 in this little shootout that we had. And it turns out that guitar number 2 was the most affordable in the lineup. It was the DST-80. So my kind of final thoughts on this, and I think the conclusion that we can all agree we came to with this video, is that we need to listen with our ears more and see what actually sounds good instead of just saying, I see brand names, I see Seymour Duncan's and a Fender, or I see it's a Fender custom shop and they're Fender custom shop proprietary, blah, 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 blah. Ignore all that. Ignore it. Okay? It just goes to show that this realistically like $120 guitar that you can get on Amazon or Donner's website, and this is not a sponsored video by Donner or anything, it's good enough, right? It's great. You get some really authentic, chimey single coil tones out of this DST-80. The other two sounded great too, obviously. They sound really good. But I'm only harping on guitar number 2 because that's just what people said, like definitively in the comments. But so like I said, like takeaways from this is that you don't need to spend an arm and a leg on pickups to have a massive tonal shift, right? Affordable pickups will do it. If anything, you need to focus on your amp and speaker. Maybe your speaker more, because if you have a crappy amp and you replace the speaker in it, you're going to notice a huge tonal shift. Now, amps can be bad just all around and speakers won't save them. There are those exceptions, but it's kind of been proven, I'd say time and time again, but it's been proven a lot that your pickups really don't make as big of a difference as you think. And a lot of the marketing stuff that a lot of these bigger companies like to push on you to try to sell you a product, because imagine that, right? That's all it is just trying to sell you a product, which is fine. Business is business, whatever. But I'm just saying, don't be fooled by it. Don't go and bankrupt yourself. I say bankrupt yourself, but just don't go and flush money down the toilet to change your pickups thinking that you're going to get these massive tonal shifts, because you're really not. But with that being said, leave me your comments down there. Tell me what you thought about this whole thing. Don't let your results be skewed because you listened with your eyes now that you know which guitar was which. And let me know what you thought of this. I might do more of these in the future. I don't know. We'll see. But if you enjoyed it, let me know. Make sure you subscribe, check out more videos, like the video, all that stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.